Hi, everybody. It's Craig from Doc Sports. We're back with your Doc Sports Daily for, what's it, Thursday? Thursday, the 3rd of April. Believe it or not, we're already 3 months down, and we're a few days, 2 days? Yeah, Thursday, Friday, before we get to the Final Four. And we've got Mr. Basketball here, Robert Ferringo. He's getting ready to travel across the lake before, so we're going to definitely pick his brain on the Final Four. We did talk a little bit with Raphael yesterday about some of the odds and stuff. So it was some interesting partake on to see what Robert thinks. But, of course, we're going to have Major League Baseball today, a bunch of early games. So hopefully we'll find some, hopefully, gems in the later games. And then we'll talk the NIT final as well today. Kind of anticlimactic with the Crown stealing some of the good teams. Like Boise State should definitely be in that final. I wish they should do like the Champion League, Robert, where they play like the champions play. You know, so like the champions of the Crown,
NCAA champion,
the Crown and the
CBI
all play together.
100%.
That'd be great. And then relegate the teams that don't. You got to go. You got to go play in the Mountain West next year because you lost the Big East. All right, so we'll have tons to talk. Also, the NBA, of course. We're just NBA and NHL. Just what? 3 weeks? 2 weeks to the playoffs start? Is that right, Nick? You know when the NHL playoffs start?
I believe in 2.5 weeks.
2.5. Yeah, so right. Yeah, we're right to it. Crazy. It's like where the year has gone. Just yesterday, we were dealing with snow and everything. Now we're starting to spring it up. All right, don't forget, let's take care of housekeeping. Like and subscribe. Also, don't forget, if you haven't done so, make sure you take advantage of our free $60 offer. Go to docsports.com/free60. All new customers can get in on a free $60 offer. Now, what can you do with that? You can do anything you want. But the most people get on the day pass is $30 per day per sport. So if you want any of the cappers on the screen, say NBA plays for today, college basketball, it could be NHL, could be baseball, whatever. You could use it this weekend for UFC. Whatever you like, you use that, and it's used just like cash. So you can also put it towards a bigger pass if you want, like you want the week pass for $99 for baseball. You can get in on that as well. So make sure you do so. If you're an existing user, of course, you know the drill. Just go to the grid and get in on your favorite expert for today. Robert, do we have – I did not look. I was traveling this morning. Do we have any big 7-8 unit plays today from anybody?
Ooh, we have quite a few, actually. The BPA is full. There's a few NBA big plays, including one from Mr. Murphy over there. Actually, Nick has a 7-unit total. Doc's 7-unit total. August Young, who does not have a lot of top NBA plays, he's piping something out there. Only one baseball play, but you missed that. That was a 1 o'clock start. We're all over the board. A lot of guys been paying out in daily props. I know that there might not be a lot of viewers that are interested in that, or maybe they don't bet that regularly, but the guys that we have pumping out props right now, they're finding a lot of winners. There's a lot of value in that market right now, and a couple big plays there as well.
I think Raphael said the other day that 51% of the bets now are non-pregame, what I call pregame, before the game starts, sides and totals. It used to be 75 to 80%. Mm-hmm. It's now only 49%. So 51% is the other way now. That includes props. That includes in-game betting. You know, all the other different ways to make money has become the norm now. So if you're one of those guys and you want help, get in with our props. I think they're only $25 per day instead of $30 per day, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, and sometimes you're getting, like, I can't speak for everybody. I usually only do one prop when I give them out, but there's some guys that are giving out multiple props, 2 and 3 props for that same $25 cost. So, and that would cover all sports, right, Robert? That covers any props they give at any sport.
Yeah, like some guys are releasing baseball props each day, like with daily. It's daily props. It's just one umbrella, and it could be any sport. Like Nick could have an MLB, an NBA, and a college basketball prop all on the same card, and you get that with the one day package. It's not like you get one pick in one sport. Right. We spray the board a little bit. We're looking for value.
Yeah, and so one day it could be Major League Baseball, the next day it could be NBA, or it could be mixed. You could get both. So, like we always say, we don't force a bet. If you don't get a play, say you buy a week pass and you don't have a play that day, it just extends your pass one day. So it doesn't like you miss a play.
You don't lose out. Yeah.
Right. You don't pay for 7 days, only get 6 days. That's what I meant by that. So make sure you get in on that. You can get a week. I think the week is still $99 though, right?
For the that I'm not sure.
I think. But the daily is for sure $25 for your favorite expert. So make sure you check it out. All right, Nick, how did you do yesterday? And what I know you have a big play tonight, right?
Yep. Yesterday we smacked a 7-unit best bet in the NBA. Don't throw out many top plays in the NBA. And boy, did we get that winner. I had the Miami Heat there plus 11, keep the points. They won outright against the Boston Celtics.
Wow.
We're back tonight on the hardwood floor. We got a totals play in that Minnesota Timberwolves and the Brooklyn Nets game. That game starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're locked and loaded on the baseball field and NHL. We got a 2-pack in both. So we're locked and loaded here on All Sports, Craig.
All right, Griffin. I hope you had a better day than me yesterday. I had been rolling along. It's like as soon as you say, hey, I've been having a good day, it's like, bam, I got smacked down yesterday. So hopefully you had a better day than I did.
No, I didn't. I got smacked the living hell out yesterday, Craig. Bad day across the boards. But you know what? I didn't like the card yesterday. It was very weird. I didn't play as high volume, which I'm happy about. I didn't take massive losses. But I'm looking at today because today I have a lot prettier card, especially on the NBA side of things. I have a 7-unit best bet. I haven't launched a 7-unit best bet since the 24th of March. And I had the Celtics in that one. Ended up cashing that play. So I've been very patient with unloading the tank on the NBA hardwood side of things. I finally found my match tonight. I've released a 7-unit best bet. It's part of a 2-play card, and it tips off at 7 p.m. Eastern time. College basketball I passed on today. And MLB, I have a 4-play card, 11 units loaded. And on the ice, I have 3 plays, I want to say, or 2 plays, I want to say 6 units loaded. So I've got a full slate across all sports today, Craig, and I'm looking to lock up here tonight.
Yeah, I wish we'll talk about it here in a second. This whole Crown fiasco, not being able to book bets. Yeah. I actually thought some of these games are interesting, so I really wish that, it wasn't like I was going to have a 7-unit play or anything, but I thought, you dabble with the 2 or 3 unit, but unfortunately, rest of the country outside of Vegas didn't jump on board. But we do still have an NIT. Robert, do you have anything in this NIT as far as top play tonight? Because I kind of was thinking of you when I was watching down that game.
I have nothing. I liked some of the Crown stuff, but unfortunately, because all the books weren't taking action on that, we couldn't release plays. And that kind of sucks because that's just been one blowout after another. Like that's just been easy money cleaning up in that. So don't love the NIT as much. Hit with UC Irvine the other day against North Texas in a tough game. I'm kind of winding down. I'm kind of shifting gears and shifting focus more towards MLB, NBA, and NHL. Some handicappers have teams of handicappers that do everything. I'm more of a one-man show, so I have limited bandwidth. And I like to keep my focus where the bettors are. And there's just not as much value left in college basketball. I don't want to say it's beat because some people have 7-unit plays. Some people absolutely love the matchups tonight on our site. I'm not one of them. I don't see the need for more big plays. I'm going to go ahead and take the money and walk away from the table on this season.
If you boys don't mind, let's start with the Final Four so we don't miss out. I didn't get to have Griffin and Nick were off yesterday as well. So me and Raphael broke it down. I kind of want to get your guys' opinion. I mean, great Final Four. I mean, you get 4 number 1 seeds. Some people are disappointed because you don't see upsets. But the positive is you might not get the upsets, but you can make an argument for every team to win, which is like as a bettor and a handicapper, that's what I want. Because then if I have a strong opinion, I don't have to lay 10, 11, 12 points. Robert, let's start with you. Was there any thing that kind of jumped off, like as far as even in the Elite 8 and the Sweet 16, and now that you can maybe apply forward here for the Final Four?
No, fairly predictable. Like the 4 of us have been talking college basketball on this show for 2 months, right? Yep. And we've all been in agreement that these are like clearly the 4 best teams. So I guess the surprise is that the 4 best teams actually made it here, because normally that's not the case. Somebody does get tripped up over this, but these 4 have been clearly superior all season long. So I'm glad that they're there. I wish that we weren't seeing Auburn and Florida go up against each other, like an SEC rematch in the one. I wish the 2 SEC teams were on different parts of the bracket. But, if Auburn wins, it's going to be a rematch no matter what. They went on the road and beat Houston early on in the season in a non-conference game, and they lost to Duke at Duke. So, we're probably going to get a rematch either way, unless it's Florida. But no, these are the 4 best teams. Look at what they're doing against the numbers too. Florida hasn't been very good against covering, but the rest of these teams, they've been not just winning games, but beating the numbers. That shows that there's nothing fluky about what these guys have done. They're dominating on their way to the Final Four.
And what you have, I'm guessing you're probably going to have a 7 unit on one of these two games?
No.
No.
Probably not. Like I said, it's at that point of the year. Like when it gets to the World Series, I usually don't have World Series plays. When it gets to the Stanley Cup Finals, I'm usually like, I'm done. I don't feel like there's a ton of value at this point. So it's difference of opinions, right? Like I'm kind of the same way about the Super Bowl. Very, very rarely am I like 7 unit play, Super Bowl, love this number. No, I just think that there's a little bit more value elsewhere. So no, I don't see a big spot for me. I do expect one of the games to be a blowout. By blowout, I mean 8 to 13 point win. And the other one I think will come down to the final possession. So that's just my take on it.
Griffin, when we look at this Final Four,
yeah,
the freshmen of Duke, like I really thought maybe we would see a game where maybe that inexperience, we have not seen it. Like, first of all, John Shire has done a magical job. Not only did he put freshmen together, every dude on the bench is like an experienced veteran. So it's like that. I really feel like those guys are coming through, even though they're not always on the court. It's like, I mean, these guys have just not missed a beat. I mean, if you bet them every year, usually if you bet teams laying this big a number that they have all year long, you're getting murdered. But that's not been the case. They've been cover machine. Is there anything like you think, okay, maybe now with the big lights that maybe that won't be the case in this Duke Houston game?
I mean, we could talk about this Houston versus Duke game for sure. I have futures bets where I think is a better route to go with this. So we have the Final Four, obviously, right? And I'll get back to that in a second, Craig. We've got Houston in it, we've got Duke in it, we've got Florida in it, and we've got Auburn in it. All number 1 seeds. Right now, Auburn on a futures play. Me and Tony talked about this on the Vegas beat yesterday. They're plus 550 on DraftKings to win the national championship. So when you look at these right now, and you've got 4 number 1 seeds, Duke is plus 100. I don't have the lines in front of me right now. Houston, I want to say, is plus 350, and I want to say Florida something. I got Florida in at
Florida's second. Like
Florida's
plus
second
260 or 240 or something like that.
And Florida, I got back when they were plus 390. So I'm looking at futures tickets in this right now. And your best bet is obviously going to be, we have 4 number 1 seeds, and all 4 of these teams are the teams we predicted to be here. And they've all showed out, and they've all been sensational during this tournament. Your best bet is obviously going to be taking Auburn and sprinkling that futures pizza money with Auburn at the plus 550. Otherwise, because Duke, there's no value there. Plus 100, they're dealing with, I mean, look at it by quarter. There's 4 teams in this, 25, 20, 25, 25. So you got 4 of them. Why would you put your futures money on Duke when you could look at all 3 other 1 seed teams, and you could also get times 5 risk to reward on a team like Auburn, who's been sensational? But if you want to talk about this Houston Duke game, I'll get right into it. Duke's laying 5.5 here. I don't understand it. I get what Duke has done all season long, and I get how competitive that they've been. I also understand the fact that Kelvin Sampson sucks when it comes to the big game. But can Houston shut down Cooper Flagg's the real question. That's not even in my mind right now. My mind is towards Houston's won 17 games in a row. They've been unstoppable all season long, and they have had one of the best defenses in the nation for nearly 2 years. Why in the hell are they getting 5.5 points in the Final Four? I get it's Duke. I get how outstanding they've been, and I get how they've been covering machines all season long. But 17 consecutive wins, when you go to a situation like that and you've won 17 games in a row and you're going to bet against that, that's pure stupidity in my eyes. It's pure stupidity. So in this game, I'm taking the points with Houston here. I like the play. It's a lean. I have actually a premium selection on the other game, so I don't want to get too deep on that. But in this matchup, I'm not going to call you an idiot for laying the points with Duke at 5.5. I'm not, because of what they've done and Cooper Flagg and just the whole charade with Duke and what they've done all season long. But you're giving me 5.5 points with a team that's won 17 games in a row. What the hell are we talking about? Like, really? Give me Houston here. Take the points. I like Houston here. It's a lean. This is pizza money. This is not something I'm going balls deep on, but I like Houston here, Craig.
Hey, Robert, I set this line. I thought it was going to be 4 to 4.5. That's what I kind of thought. So, but I get it, because the public team is Duke. Like, everybody is talking Cooper Flagg. They were talking Cooper Flagg this time last year. Once Duke got out and they knew that he was coming early. Don't you think that line is about right? Not necessarily who's going to win or lose, just the perception for the public, right?
I do. And to back up Griffin's point and to make him feel even better about that lean, you know, Houston has only lost 4 games this year. They have not lost by more than 5 points. They lost to Auburn by 5. They lost to Alabama by 5 in overtime, San Diego State by 3 in overtime, and they lost to Texas Tech by 1 in overtime. So not only has Houston maimed people throughout the Big 12 by, a lot of the same way that Duke was maiming people in the ACC, but Houston was doing it against better competition. And Craig, you just hit the nail on the head. Why is this number not 3.5 or 4, where it would probably be more appropriate? It's because the books know that every public bettor is going to bet on Duke at this point. Everybody hates Duke, right? Like, we're all Duke haters because we love college basketball. Okay. But everybody hates them up until the point where you got to put money down on or against them. And then it's like, well, I'm going to bet my money on Duke. So it's natural that the books would shade the line. But I mean, I got to tell you, and I'm not trying to be a contrarian here. My early lean on this game was on Duke, to lay the point, just because they have been so good against the number. And what have I been saying for weeks when I come on here? I'm like, look, the team that ends up winning this all, that ends up winning the national championship, they're probably going to go like 6-0 or at least 5-1 against the spread. That's what the last 25 years have shown us. So this is another one of those situations also that I talked about, where if you think Houston is the play, if you like the points, you don't take them because you think it's going to be a close game. You take them because you think Houston's going to win. Yep. Do not make this bet thinking, well, I think Duke is going to win. I think they're the better team. I think they're going to win it all, actually. But, I think Houston can keep it close. That's not what you do at this point. You do not bet either of these teams unless you think that they're going to win the game.
Does anybody have because Duke plays faster, so it is skewed on their defense. Their defense is ridiculous, just like Houston. But they play faster. There's more possessions in the game. I didn't look it up. I didn't know we were going to get this far deep in it, to be honest. But I'm guessing, and I just a guess off the top of my head, that actually Duke might have a per possession defensive advantage over Houston, which that would be crazy, just because they don't play as fast.
Duke is number 5, Houston's number 1. But the thing about Duke is their adjusted tempo is only like 270. Now, Houston's is 360. They are one of the slowest teams. Yeah. They want to slow this game down to a crawl. But this isn't that contrast in style where you have the pressing, fast break, up-tempo team that's going to get rattled by playing a slower, more possession-based game. And I will say this also, you asked me, am I going to have a 7-unit play in this weekend? No, but I will say this, a little preview here on Docs Daily. I am going to have an 8-unit daily prop game of the year in this, and it's going to be in this game. And I'm not going to tell you who.
Nice.
I'm not going to talk about them. Nobody's going to see it coming, but I saw this number, and I was just like, this is kind of ridiculous. It's flying very much under the radar, and that will be my big play for this.
So, and that'll be out Saturday morning at 11:30.
Saturday morning, yeah.
You can buy it on Saturday morning, and then it will come out with all the other games, except the NBA comes out at 12:30. So make sure you check. All right, Nick. We look at the other game, and a lot of people I think talking about Duke, and it's deserving. I mean, Cooper Flagg has played. I didn't think he could live up to the expectations of it was like Zion almost. So it was like, this is the mythological being, and they both. Like in college, I mean, historical careers.
Craig, how about that total? How's that total looking to you? That
136 scares the shit out of me. The total on that one.
I like the other game. Are you on the other game, Nick?
I'm on this game. I'll have a 7-unit side in the Duke versus Houston, but let me tell you, this total right now, it's 136.5. Duke in this tournament has not scored less than 85 points in one single game here. I understand that Houston has a tremendous defense, but Duke, it doesn't matter. We've seen it all season from Duke. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They're going to score points. And if Houston wants to stay in this game, I think Houston needs to score points offensively in this game. I love this over here. I know why it's so low because of the defense in Houston. But, man, I mean, Duke's going to score points. We've seen it all season long.
So do you like the total, just Duke total, or do you like the combined total? For the game?
I like the combined total of over 136.5 points in this game.
Duke's is probably what? Robert, do you have that? What's the Duke number alone?
They if it's 136, they probably have to be about 71.
I'll tell you it right now.
70.
And now one game have they gone under 85 points. All over.
I can only remember one really low scoring Duke game, and just off the top of my head, that Clemson game at Clemson was really the
Duke's
only game.
Total is over 70.5.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So if you like the total for the game, you gotta like Duke team total over, because like you said, if it goes over, it's going to be because Duke gets the pace a little more of their style than maybe Houston.
Well, you look at that Arizona Duke game that they played, right? Like Arizona and Houston are built physically. They're both good defensive oriented teams. They scored 100. I mean, Arizona's not where Houston is, but if you watched Arizona and Houston play against one another this year, again, it's similar. They're built, their athletes are similar. Duke scored 100 points against Arizona's defense. So I'm kind of with you that, like, if you think that Houston's going to keep them in the 50s, that's just not going to happen. That's just not realistic. So I agree with you, Nick.
They're only like their tallest guy for Houston is like 6'9". So it's not like Houston has like a shot blocking presence. They're an on ball. Their on ball defense is ridiculous. Duke is good on ball, but they have that big dude in the back completely changes the game. You get by somebody and he changes the game. Houston doesn't have that. So like if they get past them, I think they're going to score. Like in my opinion. Like the other game, though, is interesting because it's the rematch of what I thought could have been the game of the year in that Auburn Florida game. And really, that was the coming out party. Didn't you think for Robert, for like Florida, like they were a good team, but it was like when they did that, everybody opened their eyes and were like, oh shit, this team.
Yeah, because they didn't play anybody in the non-conference. They killed everybody that they played, but they played a joke of a non-conference schedule. And then they lost to Kentucky in their SEC opener on the road. So it was like, okay, they're a really good team, but they're not really a national title contender. But the thing that worries me a little bit about Florida, and I got to tell you, I am kind of surprised that they were the favorite in this game, just because Auburn has been the better team all year. They were the number 1 overall seed. And we've kind of seen Florida start to leak a little bit of oil, right? Like it didn't look good against Connecticut. It didn't look that good against Texas Tech. Like I didn't think Texas Tech played particularly well. And they still had a chance to win that game late. And even in that, who was the other team they played? Oh, they played Maryland. In the first half of the Maryland game, they had 13 turnovers, 14 turnovers, or something like that. Like that game ended up being a blowout, but it was not a blowout in the first half because they just didn't play well. And that's the difference between looking at the final score and actually watching the game, is that if you've been watching Florida play, I don't feel like they're trending upwards. Even though they won the SEC tournament, they're in the Final Four. Like I'm not knocking them, but I'm just saying that like their level of play has not.
They haven't played their best. That's also scary.
If it wasn't for Walter Clayton just being a bad dude, and that guy is a bad dude. If it wasn't for him just hitting shots in the last few minutes, they would be out of this tournament. And I just don't think you can say the same thing about Auburn or the other 3 teams in the field right now.
Remember, February 8th, these 2 teams faced off. It was at Auburn. They were an 11-point favorite. Think about that. That is what? We're less than 2 months, and now they're a 3.5-point underdog. That is a huge swing. It's not like Auburn lost somebody. This is the same Auburn team. They were the overall number 1 seed. It's a 14.5-point book swing. I mean, that is crazy number.
Yeah.
So like if you're just looking for value, like which some people are, they're just like, look what you're getting in a 2 months time, because perception, all of a sudden they win the SEC tournament. They also won that game at Auburn, of course, which a lot of people put probably too much credit, sometimes when the head to head, and now you're getting points. So like I could see the argument on either side of this. This is actually going to be my top play for the weekend in this game. So I really can't say too much, but I do love that you can make arguments on both teams. And Bruce Pearl, I would, for all things, of all the coaches left, I'd love to see Bruce Pearl win it, because I do think, like, for people that don't know, Bruce Pearl was kind of ostracized. He turned in, I think it was Iowa, right? Back in the day. He's the one that squealed on him and it got out.
Yeah, he's a snitch, man. I'm not sure. I would be mad.
He got railroaded.
But
he had to go through I think it was Division II and work his way up, because once you do that, people were like,
snitch, bro.
No bueno. So
yeah, he's a snitch. He got into stuff at Tennessee, recruiting violence. He's not a straight dude. He's like in that Calipari level of
the dude that he actually cheated on, remember?
But a good coach.
At Tennessee was Aaron Kraft. He was recruiting Aaron Kraft, ended up going to Ohio State, and he had him over at his house, and there was pictures, and he's like, no, I didn't. And all of a sudden the pictures came out, and then they before you know it, he was out of Tennessee.
Right. So he's not a feel-good story, really.
Well, I just think it's like a guy that
he
didn't have the easy way. Like John Shire, I mean, dude, he started on what do they say? He started on third base. He started on third base. Now he's taken that, and he's I don't think Coach Krzyzewski could do what he's doing actually.
Well, wait a second. Like,
Still there.
listen, I agree. How many times have we seen this happen just in like the last 10 or 15 years? Like, look at the dude, what's his name, that just got fired from Villanova. Like, taking over after the legend is usually not an enviable position. Look at what's happening at Syracuse. It's happening at North Carolina. Like, being the guy after the guy is usually more of a curse than a blessing. Like John Shire pulling it off. He's one out of maybe 10, or excuse me, 1 of 10, like maybe 10% of guys that follow those epic, legendary coaches. Look what happened at Louisville a couple of years ago after Pitino got run out. Like, we could go over and over and over, but like normally if you're the guy after the guy, it usually doesn't work out. So I think what he's doing is pretty admirable.
And he's a Chicago boy.
His
boys should love him. He's a Chicago boy. Like, he's a legend.
Shire, yeah.
Like they said, if you ever watch the podcast with, it's a Barstool
GBN.
podcast.
Griff.
Who's
He went
that
to
guy?
GBN high school.
He went to North.
Like, and they said this dude would go anywhere, anytime, play anybody. Like that, he's not scared of anybody.
Yeah.
And then end up at Duke, and he had a great career, and then go through the. So I mean, he's worked his way up, but I respect him because he's not just doing it like Krzyzewski did. You know, it definitely is his own flavor. And the way he's added this NIL thing has been straight up his alley. Like, to be able to mix in the great, freshmen with the experience with NIL players, it's definitely been magical.
Watch the way for real college basketball lovers too. Watch the way Duke runs their sets. Like we talked last week about watching Purdue, how they run their pick and roll, and how that's like just like a thing of beauty. Like, watch the sets that Duke runs. Like, really pay attention, not just to who's scoring or whatever, but how they're getting their points. They really run beautiful, beautiful offense. This isn't just Cooper Flagg being bigger, stronger, better than everybody else. Like, all of these guys are being put in great positions so well that even when they lost Cooper Flagg in the ACC tournament, they still won and they still dominated those teams. So, they're not going to be, but really just watch the X's and O's and you start to see the patterns emerge of how they run their sets. It really is great offense.
The Knipple kid is really what makes it go, because that dude can play off the ball. He can put you in pick and rolls. He makes good passes. A lot of people thought he wasn't athletic enough. That was his knock. Dude, I don't know who was watching him in high school, because there's no way anybody was staying in front of this kid. He's getting by the best defenders in the league. Now, Houston has a 23-year-old, a 22-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 20-year-old. Those are their 4 guards. So, like, these guys have won so many games together, and in the college basketball and in the tournament. It's going to be a different story. I don't know if Knipple can get by it. If he does, if he continues to do so, they're going to win, because if you have to help off of him, they have great shooters. And then Cooper Flagg gets, he's slashing. He's impossible to stop when he has a lane. So I'm excited to watch both games, but I think that is going to be the exciting, the defense versus that offensive Duke, because it is like it's not Krzyzewski. That's what's fun, is when you watch Krzyzewski sets, it's just different now. It's more the pro style that is definitely leaked into the Duke system. So let's talk
one last thing. Neither of these teams go very deep into the bench either. We're talking 6-7 guys tops. So like, it's going to be Houston's best against Duke's best, and that's going to be it. Like, it's going to be Duke starting 5 against Houston starting 5 for 80%, 90% of this game. So we're going to see they're going to be taking each other's best punches for
and I think that's why Duke doesn't play
minutes.
faster.
It's
Don't you think
something.
that's why? That's probably why Duke doesn't play a little faster. Is they're a little worried about getting in foul trouble and having to expose the bench a little more. And they play them pretty heavy minutes. Even though they're young, they're playing them pretty heavy minutes. So they do slow it down a little more. I think Houston has a little deeper bench, to be very honest. That's quality, at least. But, there's always in the Final Four, there's always a guy that you don't expect. That's like – that hits
Robert's
3 or 4
got him.
threes.
I think I got him, Griffin. I think I got him.
That's where, the big guys always play well. Like, not always, but the big guys show up. But it's the guy that steps up and hits 2 or 3 threes that you're not expecting. A guy that gets 10 rebounds. What was it last year? The UConn big man, the big kid that hit like all those threes? Or was that maybe the first UConn? They kept leaving him out front. It wasn't the white kid that plays for Portland.
I don't think I watched a minute.
Might have been 2 years ago, and he hit like 3 threes in the first half of the championship game, and it was like, okay, well, they're going to win. Like, if he's hitting threes, they're going to win.
I was in England last year for the Final Four, too. I'll be in England with my son for soccer this year for the Final Four. I might not see a minute of these games.
Oh, no. I hope you're taping it. All right, let's talk a little NBA just to get on the way out the door here. Let's make sure we give them some free picks. Nick, why don't you start us off? What do you like here in the NBA for today? It's a little better card than I think yesterday.
Yeah, let's look at these Memphis Grizzlies. They're -4.5 over the Miami Heat. Miami Heat did me right yesterday, folks, but they're playing back-to-back here. They got to travel back home from Boston. They're going to be exhausted here. The Grizzlies are on a 4-game losing streak. And this Memphis team is getting healthy. Ja Morant will be in this lineup here. They're starting to come together. I understand they're on a 4-game losing streak, but let's not forget they are number 1 in the NBA in points per game, averaging 122 points per game. I think they cover this spread here in Miami against a tired Miami Heat team. I would lay the points -4.5 tonight with the Memphis Grizzlies over the Miami Heat, Craig.
You're stepping in front of the losing train there. like that Grizzlies team. I mean, usually if you're in the top 4 seeds, you don't fire your coach at this point in the season. The Grizzlies were so desperate because of this losing streak. They fire their coach. They come to play the Warriors. And it's whoever wins that game has the tiebreaker. And they're at home. They get the lead with like 4 or 5 minutes to go and then just completely fell apart again. Like the Grizzlies, I don't know what's wrong with them. Like you could blame the coach all you want. Something else is wrong because it's like so the Grizzlies, I thought had a chance to win it all this year. I don't know if it's Ja Morant. I don't know if it's Jackson or Bane, like those 3 leaders. But something ain't right there. And so if you're right, it's because the Miami Heat just don't show up for this game. It's not because the Grizzlies are playing good, I'm guessing.
I'm with you, Nick. And it's weird. It started to creep me out a little bit because yesterday my top play was on Miami as well. And you said that your top play today, your 7-unit play is in what game?
Minnesota Timberwolves and the Brooklyn Nets.
And it's the total, right?
Correct.
My top play is in – now, it's a smaller play. Mine's only a 3-unit play, I think, is in the same game. And I'm in 100% agreement with you here on Memphis. So it's starting to freak me out a little bit. Normally,
good minds think alike. That's all I got to say.
Sharing the brain.
Streams here, a little Ghostbusters for you. But yeah, like here's the thing. The thing that got me about this game too is that Memphis opened as a 3.5-point favorite. If you saw the overnight betting, all the action was on Miami. Why? Because they're on a winning streak and they just beat Boston. The number actually moved. It went from 3.5 to 4.5. So whether that's because Ja Morant's going to play or not, regardless, you got a hot team versus a cold team. And the number is moving towards the cold team. Like that's a red flag here. These two teams just played a few weeks ago too, and Memphis beat them 125 to 91. And Craig, we could talk about that coaching change. We could have a whole show about that. A lot of it had to do with the scheme and system and looking ahead with Ja Morant being like, I'm not going to re-up here and sign a longer-term deal if this guy's the coach because I don't like that he's taking the ball out of my hands. And as we've seen so many times, when you let the players dictate the coaches and the front office decisions, that usually does not go very well. So long-term, not buying Memphis. Like, I think they're going to be a first-round flame-out. But here in this situation, against a tired Miami team in a letdown spot, I'm going to follow the number. I'm going to play the book. So I'm with you 100%, Nick. Good pick.
Just so everybody knows, they are in a 3-way tie, and we're talking about the Grizzlies. They are 44 and 32. There's 3 teams: the Timberwolves, the Clippers, and the Grizzlies. They're fighting for the 6th through the 8th spot, and the Warriors are half a game up in the 5th spot. So I mean, and the Warriors have the tiebreaker now against both Minnesota and the Grizzlies. So both of these teams, like these teams in that 6 to 10, almost have to win out. Like, because you want to stay out of the play-in game.
One last thing: they're on this 4-game losing streak too, but they lost to Oklahoma City, the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Warriors. So Miami's won 6 straight, but they played like Washington and Brooklyn.
Orlando.
Like they beat the Celtics, so I'm not knocking them, but I'm just saying, like, oh, they've won 6 straight. Okay, they played a bunch of schlubs. Like, oh, this team's lost 4 in a row. They played 3 of the best teams in the NBA. Like, it's just, you can't just look at the winning and losing streaks here. Like, there's a reason Memphis is favored on the road.
And the Grizzlies have been really good over bets, just so if anybody out there wants, if you're like, you like to bet overs, you kind of follow the Grizzlies games. Nick said they're the highest scoring team. The last 10 games, they're also allowing the most points too. So, like, not only they're scoring a lot, they're giving up a lot. So if you like the over, maybe even look at there, maybe a little same game parlay action. I know Robert doesn't like that, but hey, if you do like parlays. Griffin, what do you like here in the NBA?
Yeah, Craig, let's talk about this game. We've got Golden State rolling into LA to play the
big
Lakers.
one.
We've got 4th in the West versus 5th in the West. LA may be 3rd in the West now. They may have bounced a game after yesterday's results. I haven't checked up that on.
They're tied. They're tied with the Nuggets, 17 and a half games back of the Thunder.
Okay, so they're tied, and Golden State's right behind them. Huge race in the West. Golden State and LA heavily in the mix. All-star players are all playing tonight. We've got Jimmy Buckets in, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Luka. Golden State, they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak. LA, they're 6-4 in their last 10 games on a 2-game winning streak. So here's the kicker here. Since Jimmy Buckets has put on that Golden State uniform, this team is 19-4 straight up. Los Angeles, since acquiring Luka from the Mavs, they're just 14-8. I'm rolling with the team who made the smartest move on the chessboard, and that is the Golden State Warriors. By picking up Jimmy Buckets, this team has done nothing but win. As I just mentioned, 19-4, and they're since acquiring this guy, they have all the momentum. They've won 3 consecutive games, and they're getting 1.5 points in this matchup. I don't care that they're on the road. I'm on the Warriors in this matchup, and I'm riding that trend. Give me the Warriors over the Lakers tonight, and I like them on the money line to win this game outright, Craig.
This is a revenge spot too. The Warriors. This is the 4th time these guys will play this year. They've won. The Lakers have won the first 3, including, I believe it was it New Year's Day, or I think it was actually Christmas Day, right? These two teams, and it was at Golden State, and the Lakers won. So there's a little revenge here that, it's hard to beat things 4 times in the year, especially like you said. These teams are really tight. They're 2 games separate them in the race right now. If they win, now we're talking about 1 game. And all of a sudden, the Warriors could be up for the either 3rd. I mean, they're probably going to finish 3rd.
Out of nowhere, man.
Yeah, crazy. Out of nowhere. Like they were the 10th team when the trade went down. They were, I think, the 9th. They might have been tied between the 9th and 10th. So they've made big hay. That's why the trade deadline is so fun in both NBA, NHL, baseball. It's like teams go from being average to being good. Like you can, and you can also go the other way. I mean, the Lakers have kind of basically been middle. They were, I think, 3rd or 4th when that trade went deadline. They're about the same. But I think it's going to be super fun. Bucks, we've seen the Bucks. I think the Bucks are much better with Kyle Kuzma. I mean, they really weren't getting anything out of Middleton, so that kind of helped them out. Robert, anything in the NBA you like here as a free play?
No, actually, I was with Nick. My free play was going to be on Memphis. I do have a free play that I'll give out in NHL because I know NHL is right on everybody's mind. By the way, Griffin, I agree with you 100%. Like, you know me, if it comes to Lakers right now, I'm betting against them. My free play, take Colorado on the 3-way line over Columbus. You're getting plus money here. My free play was almost Colorado -1.5, plus 170. So either the 3-way or the puck line. I know Colorado is so dominant at home that there's such a big home road split with how their numbers are. They're still just a damn good team. They can win anywhere. And Columbus, they're just flaky. Like, they can score 7 goals or give up 7 goals in any game. Like, they just lit up Nashville in an 8-4 win that I had earlier this week. They've had some bad losses to bad teams lately. So I just think Colorado, they've won 5 out of 6. They're beating good teams. They're on a mission. I don't care that this is on the road. Getting plus money with the team that is just obviously better and that still has plenty to play for. Take Colorado on the 3-way line at plus 105, or go ahead and if you're feeling froggy, lay that 1.5 goals at getting plus 70. But I like the Avs tonight.
Me and Nick just had that same conversation. We're both in full agreement with you, Robert. 100%.
Nice.
All right, I got to
get man. You're creeping me out, guys.
I don't know.
Too much agreement now here.
That's right.
Good minds.
I don't know if guys on lunch are at our office, but he's a big Vegas Knights guy. So hopefully he's not listening in, because I kind of think Winnipeg's play tonight. But I want to get your opinion here, Nick. I kind of think they're the play here. I think Winnipeg's a slightly better team than Vegas. You're getting them at plus money here. Like, are you feeling this game at all?
I'm feeling it. I actually have the Winnipeg Jets here. And this is, I'll tell you what, on the Docs Daily, I think over the last month, I have taken the Winnipeg Jets probably 4 to 5 times, and they've all done me dirty. So if the Winnipeg Jets do not cover this game, I'm very confident they will. They better, but they will be on my do not bet list if they lose this game. I think the Vegas Golden Knights, ton of public money is going to be on them, especially after losing their last game to the Oilers at home, where they play their best hockey. They lost the Oilers 3-2 in that one. The Jets on the road, they're 23-14, and the Vegas Golden Knights, they're 27-8 here at home. I think Hellebuyck steps up in this occasion. They just lost on the road to the Los Angeles Kings 4-1. Hellebuyck was in net. I think this is a big bounce back game for him in Las Vegas. I would take the Winnipeg Jets on the money line over the Vegas Golden Knights, Craig.
I like it. I was going to message Guy, but I'm guessing he usually goes to the games. He's probably not going to be happy that
Don't
message Guy.
Can I call a shot 3 weeks out here? It's April 3rd. Mark this down. We got this on recording. If the St. Louis Blues make the playoffs, if they make it as the 8th seed,
they're hot.
They are going to beat Winnipeg in the first round.
Whoa.
It's not like it doesn't happen all the time in the NHL where the number 1 seed, relative to other sports, the number 1 seed in hockey, we could go back over the last 10 or 15 years. It happens a good amount of time. Winnipeg just feels like that type of number 1 seed where like they've defied expectations. They're really good, really sound team. I get it, all of that, but they do not strike me as like a dominant team in the West. And if St. Louis, with what they're doing, if they end up sneaking in there with the momentum they have, the type of hockey that they're playing, they will knock off Winnipeg. That will be an 8-1 upset that we'll see. Calling it.
Well, it happened. The Kings won it all as an 8th seed.
Right.
2 years ago, the Panthers, they went to the Cup. They didn't win it all, but it was kind of the same situation.
Right. Like it happens. It is not as bizarre as it is in the NBA. You know what I mean? Where that happens once every 20 years and we're still talking about it. Like I feel like it happens once every 3 or 4 years.
Well, the best line only plays a third of the game. So it's not like in the NBA. Imagine if Steph Curry only played a third of the game and you had to basically play these other guys. Now it's depth. So it really can happen. And there's nothing like, I guess pitchers can get hot, but the pitcher can't pitch every day. When a goalie gets hot in the playoffs, they can win 1, 2 series, and then it's like the whole team gets this confidence with them. So I said to Guy and these guys both, we were out in Vegas, I said, this is the most wide open I can remember NHL season. Like I can make an argument for like 6 teams to win it. Yeah. Like usually I'm like, there's 2 or 3 that I'd probably bet on. Like this year I would say there's like 6 or 7 teams. That's going to make the playoffs. Great. Super fun to bet. So, and exciting to watch, which is, I always say, as much as I love the NBA playoffs, March Madness, and I'm not a hockey guy, like the NHL playoffs.
They're the best.
Like it's so
wild.
It's like, as a bettor, I like to bet underdogs every once in a while. Like you can bet underdogs and feel like you really have a chance every game, which is super fun way to go about it. So, all right, guys, that we went a little over. I wanted to make sure we got some NHL though in for you guys. Don't forget, Robert's going to be on this week. You'll be gone next week too, right?
Yes, I will be 8 days in England. We come back Sunday the 13th, and then we're in Arizona 3 days after that. So a lot of soccer fun.
Have a fun trip. Enjoy the soccer. Hopefully you'll get the Final Four in there a little bit. You'll get the Final Four in the championship game. And now the championship game over there is like, isn't it like 2:00 in the morning or something?
Yeah, it's 5 hours ahead, so it'll be 2:00 in the morning. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Start boozing late.
We'll
tell the bars. Don't forget, if you want the Premium Plus, this gets you 3 expert plays every day. Some of the experts on the screen could be anybody. I pick from everybody. 2, 3, and 4 unit plays. Never the big 5, 6, and 7, 8 unit plays. You got to still buy those. But 3 every day. That's just a month for $49.99, and that will include Indian Cowboys 3 to 4 plays every day. So that ends up giving you like 180 to 200 plays a month for $49.99. You can't beat it. It's a good sample. All you got to do is click the link in the description to sign up. And then, of course, if you want our best plays, go over to DocSports.com/free60 to get your free $60 account. If you're an existing user, though, you don't need to do that. Just go to the grid and get in on. Some of these great guys have big plays today, so make sure you get in on. All right, guys, have a great day. Hope all your bets are winning ones. Robert, be safe traveling. See you other boys tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.